Hello everyone, this is Prem Kumar. Welcome to this new video, another exercise video where I'm going to talk about how to implement the cascading dropdown or cascading picker in a Pega application. This is one another sample video of my real-time scenarios section. If you want to find more such real-time development completely practical based lectures, you can enroll with my Pega Masterclass course. The discount links are in the description of this video through which you can navigate and enroll. We can learn together. First, let's understand what do you mean by cascading controls. If you look at this picture, here we have two drop-downs, right? We have the category drop-down where I can select some category, and based on the selected category, my second drop-down is sourced or my second picker is sourced. Why I meant picker here is, it's not always the case that you use drop-down as cascading. You can also use drop-down autocomplete, or you can also do any kind of pickers you want. But the main idea is from one control, based on the selection of one control, you can source what are the applicable values for another control. As you can see from the drop-down, in the first control, I select the category, and based on that selection, I'm going to source the second drop-down. So this is what we call as cascading drop-down. You will see such control definitely almost in a lot of places. Where you have certain data is dependent on another data, you will have these cascading controls. And I have worked in projects in almost like all Pega applications. We will use at some place, we will have this cascading use case. Definitely you can use that. I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's go to Business Studio and check it out. Okay, now a brief summary of my use case. If you look at this picture, I'm into the client's records case. I'm into the first screen where I capture the customer details. And in the customer details, I have the customer ID, customer type. In addition to that, I have to select to which country the customer belongs. Customer can be a Dutch customer or an international customer. So definitely I have to use that country field. And based on the country, I have to select the state as well as the city. Now, let's say if the customer is Dutch. In the country, I'm going to select it as Netherlands. And as soon as I select the country, I can present them with the state drop-down where it just displays the applicable states that are part of Netherlands. So this is going to be my use case. To do that, I also set up some data. So what I meant here is in the data type, I have a data type dedicatedly set to store all these country details. This is one example of using the country. In real time, you may have different examples. Let's say you have policy type, the subcategory, and if you want to source based on that, definitely you need to have the data into your database table, or you can also use some connector, let's say data page connector, and get the data from different application. So somehow definitely you need the data. In this tutorial, I'm just having all my data into my database table. So I can use a data page or I can use a report definition to query the data and display it in the dropdown. Now I will walk you through the data type. There is a country, state, city data type. If I go to the records, there I will find already there is some data. So this I will use for the demo purpose. So I have two countries here. One is India and the other is Netherlands. And then I have states that are part of the countries. Okay, now my data is ready. Now let's go to the section and let's see how to use the cascading. For this, I'm just going to use the drop down. Let's get started. If you go to the section, the customer details section, this is the section which is used to capture the customer details. So basically, this is the section behind here. So I go here and I start with adding some controls. So drop downs is part of pickers. So you can simply use a drop down. For now, I'm just going to include two drop downs here. Okay, whenever you do this development, so we are going to capture the data into some properties, right? Currently, I have only the data type ready. I never created any property. In your use case, in your project, if you already have some property already created, you just want to source it from a drop down, then you don't need to create a new property. In my use case, I have to create a new property. So I'm going to show you that also. So first is I'm going to use the country. I'm going to say country. Definitely I will not have the country property under alive data customer. So I'm going to use this pointer and just quickly create a new property. If you want to quickly create a property, if you don't want to go into the configuration form, if you click this option and then select the mandatory one, the data type, create and close, it will automatically create. Now that we have created a new property, country property, and then we have to define the source. Now, how do you going to source? I'm going to show two ways. First, I'm going to use a data page, and the second, I'm also going to show you report definition. Ideally, you can always use data page. I would prefer you to use the data page so that this data page can be referred at multiple places. It's basically like you are loading the data into a data page, and data page can source from the report definition. So when you use data page, you are going to have two rules, but these can be easily reused. In another scenario, you can just run the report definition directly, which I don't use it often. I prefer to go with data pages. So you can also always go with the data page, but I'm going to show you how you can use both the ways. First, we will use with the data page. So what data page I can use here? If I go to the data type, I already have a data page. If you see here, there is a data page d_country state city list, right? So I have this data page. Let's see if I can reuse this existing data page as such. I'm just going to run this data page and then just do flush and run. Here you get 6 results. Although the unique countries are only 2, the India and Netherlands, but this is just going to fetch all the records into the data type. So I don't want to display Netherlands or India multiple times, right? So definitely I have to add some kind of filter criteria. What I meant here is, let's say I go here, copy this, and then go to the section and add the data page. Now, if I say I want to use the country, now if I do a submit, so I just used only one drop down, and that drop down is getting sourced from the country. I'll show you how this is going to work. If I create a new claims records case, and then if I go to the drop down, I have India 4 times. I have 2 Netherlands. That's what I told. Because in this data type, I have 6 rows, and it is going to fetch me all the rows. The out of the box data page, the list data page, it's just going to retrieve me all the entries. Now, I just want to have distinct countries, right? So definitely I have to do some changes. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to create a new data page. I'm just going to save as for now because I can have it as a thread. I can have it as a read only. So this exactly looks same. I need to have the same thing. So you can always do a save as. So a small tip, whenever you do some Pega development, just look for some existing rules and then you can do a save as. Some people, they just think that I just always want to create a brand new. It's not the case. Be smart. Just open any existing rule and then do a save as. Definitely you are going to update there. By that way also you are going to learn. So let's do a save as of this. So what will be my data page name? I'm going to say d_country list. This is fine. And then do a create and open. Now I cannot use the same report definition. Definitely I have to use a different report definition, right? Because this is retrieving me all the results. I need to have only the distinct results. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just again opening the same report definition. Again, I'm going to do a save as. So just do a save as here. And then you say get distinct countries. Because country is not the key. The keys are different. So definitely you need to have a separate report definition to get the distinct countries. Here you can also remove some unwanted columns as I'm just deleting, because that is not needed. I'm not going to display the update datetime or system datetime. I'm just removing all other things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use remove duplicate rows. I hope I explained this in detail in the report definition video. So please take a look at the report definition video also. So here I can remove the duplicate rows, but to remove the duplicate rows, I cannot even have the state and city. So by this way, if I retrieve only the country, and I will have 6 results, and most are duplicate, right? Because India is repeated 4 times, Netherlands is repeated 2 times. So that is going to remove the duplicate rows. Now, if I run this report definition standalone, let me show you. If I run it, I get only 2 results here, right? You see, India and Netherlands. I'm just showing you, if I don't use this remove duplicate rows, it is going to retrieve me 6 results. As you can see, it retrieved me 6 results because it never removed the duplicate rows. Just use the remove duplicate rows. That will really solve your issue. If you have such use case, like if you have a table where you have duplicate entries, you can very well use this remove duplicate rows. Now I'm going to do a check-in. So my report definition is ready. Now I go to the data page and use my newly created report definition. So it's going to be get distinct countries. I'm going to use this option. It doesn't accept any parameter, that is well and good. But in the next drop down, we are going to use parameterization. Okay. Now I'm going to do a save. I can do a check-in. I can also unit test by running the data page. It should always retrieve me 2 results. See, result count is 2. Now I'm going to use this as the source for the drop down. So d underscore country list is going to be the source here. So I go to the country and then I just change it. I'm going to say here d underscore country, and the property value is going to be country. So this is all good now. Now if I do a submit, save, I'm going to check in, create a new case, definitely you will see the drop down is listing correctly. So you see here it is listing either India or Netherlands. So now we are well and good. And drop down, there is one small trick. If you want to display some placeholder, because currently you see it is sorted in an ascending way from the report definition rule, and then you also see that default something is selected because we don't have any placeholder. To fix this, what you can do is you can go to the section again and then open this control and you can use include placeholder. So placeholder, you can say something, you can ideally use a field value rule. For example, what I'm going to say is I'm going to say like this, select, and then I'm going to create it as a field value so that I can reuse it across places. Now if I do a save here and then I am going to use this as a placeholder, do a save, now create a new claims records case. You'll see the placeholder is here. So currently country will not have any result. It will be like empty. Only when you select it, then you get changed. So here you can make a record field so that end user will always select the option. Okay, now our country is ready. Let's say I chose India. Then I should get all the states that are part of the country India. So that is what we are going to achieve. That is what we call it as cascading control, cascading drop down, cascading picker, whatever you want you can call it. Okay, now let's introduce the second field. It's going to be state. Again, I'm going to create a new property because state is not available into the data customer. I have that property onto the address field, but for now I'm not worrying about the data model. If you have followed my entire course, I have that properties into the address page property. But for now, just let's quickly create everything into the alive data customer class. I'm just going to say create and open. I could have done create and close, but it's fine. Now my state is there and it's going to be drop down. Again, we are going to have the source. This time I'm going to show you how to use a report definition. Okay, now the report definition class, definitely it is going to be of the same class because that is where I have the country, state, every details are there into the data class. So I'm going to use the same class. Ideally, you can always go with the data page, but I'm just going to show you how to dynamically use the report definition also. Now, let's create a new report definition rule. I'm going to say get state by country. So it means from the name itself I can identify, right? Okay, this report definition is going to get me all the states based on the country. I'm going to do a create and open. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the states here. I don't need any other field. I just want to get only the state here. And filter condition. Definitely we should have some where class, right? Because we need to get only the countries that were selected into the previous drop down, right? So definitely where condition is going to be country. So that is how we can filter it out. So I'm going to say country here, and this should be dynamic. You cannot hard code anything. So how to use dynamic values into the report definition? Definitely you should use parameters. So before that, you should make sure you specify the parameter first and then come to the filter tab. For now, I'm just going to add the parameter first. I'm going to say country name. It's fine. I'm going to say it as text, do a save, and then come back, check out, come to the filter and add the filter condition. Here I'm going to say the filter country equal to, I can use the param dot country name. Now let's check what is the warning here. Okay, it always gives this warning that whenever you use filter condition, it expects that we use the configuration use null if empty. Because let's say if the parameter is empty, how the results will be displayed. You can use the use null so that when the parameter is empty, it always treat it as null. But if you don't use this option, the entire filter criteria will be dropped down. So what I meant here is I'm not using this option here. If I run it, I'm going to get all the states. As you can see, 4 state entries that are part of India and 2 state entries that are part of Netherlands. Because the country filter is entirely dropped, so I'm going to maintain that for now so that I'll show you why I'm doing this. Also here, I'm going to remove the duplicate rows because at the end, we are going to have till the city. So country, you can have the same countries, same states, and cities may be different, right? So definitely you can have duplicate rows into the state. So I'm going to remove the duplicate rows. Now if I run it, I get 3 states, Uttar, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Now I want to test the parameter. How to test the parameter in a report definition is, you can go here, you can specify the value, the default value to test, because you don't get a run window to pass the country name. So here I'm going to say India. If I do like this and if I run this, you know how many records we are going to get? 2 records, right? So this report definition, it works perfectly fine. I'm going to remove the default value and then do a checking. Okay, now let's use this report definition into the second drop down. Go to the customer details. Our report definition is already available now. Let's check what property is available. State is available. So I can use this one and just do a submit. Do a save. Okay, now let's see how it behaves in the UI. Claims records. Okay, so here I have the country, India, Netherlands. I have the state. All states were displayed, right? Because we dropped the filter from the report definition, it means it is going to retrieve me all the states that are applicable. Now in real time, how it should behave is, if I select India, I should not see Uttar, Tamil Nadu or Kerala. First improvement is, make sure you use the select option. Let's use the select option here. Just what we did for the country, we are going to use the same thing. So I'm going to reuse the select one so that it will give a uniform look and feel. Now let me create a new claims records case. Okay, both are unselected now. I have 3 options here. Country 2. If I select Netherlands, this should be only one option. Utrecht only should be there, but it is displaying other things because it is not cascaded entirely. The data is not passed from the first control to the second control. Now how to pass this control? We have all the data ready. All we have to do is just filter the data, right? So what you can do is go to the customer details, go to the country, and here you get the detail into the property, country property. So these details need to be saved and then it needs to be passed to the next control, right? So what you can do, just use a refresh section. So refresh section will always post your value. So you don't need to add an extra post or extra set. You don't need to do anything. Just go here and then use refresh this section. Why I am using this section is the other control, other drop down is also into the same section. So I can use the refresh this section. If it is into a different section, so definitely I have to use other sections here, right? So here I'm just going to do refresh this section. I'm not going to do any kind of data transformer activity. Just do a save. Now that this data will be posted into the clipboard. Now go to the second drop down, and in the second drop down, what you can do is you can use the report definition filter. Okay, I did a small mistake. You cannot pass a filter to a report definition that is sourcing a drop down. You can use data page for sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly create a data page that is going to call this report definition. So let's go here, d_country list. I'm just going to do a save as. Sorry, my bad. I should have used data pages in both the places, but it is okay. Just you will learn like this, like you'll have some kind of restriction or you'll have some kind of error. Then you will think, okay, what are the other options I can do? Now report definition, I cannot use the report definition. So the next option is I can use the data page. That is the best way, which I already told you. So I'm going to use the data page. No problem with that. Go here and then use the report definition. So what will be our report definition? We say get state by country, right? And this report definition is going to accept parameter. So what you can do is we can also parameterize the data page so that you can use it at the time of sourcing your drop down. So here I'm going to say country name. So this is going to be the parameter for the data page, and I'm going to pass the same parameter to the report definition, because report definition definitely it should accept parameter. I'm going to use param.country name. So whatever I get from the data page, I will pass it here. Now let's quickly unit test this data page. If I say India, I should get 2 results, 2 states. You see, PX result count is 2. Netherlands, 1. You see, PX result count is 1. If you want, you can also expand the PX results. You will find it as Utrecht. Okay, so this data page is all good. Now let's go to the section and then update it from the report definition to data page. I hope it accepts parameter. Otherwise, I'm going to just complain about Pega. Okay, it accepts parameter. I'm not sure why report definition, it was not configured to accept parameter. Pega could have done that, but it is well and good. Now, What should be the country name? What should be the parameter we should pass? As I already told you, country name we are getting from the previous dropdown. As soon as we get it, on change we are going to post that value. So that value will be already available into the property country name or country. So I can dynamically pass that property as a parameter to the data page. So this data page is going to retrieve whatever value I selected from the previous dropdown. I hope you got the picture. In the first dropdown, I am selecting India. Then in the second dropdown, this will be sourced. India will be passed here, and then I get all the states that are part of the country India. Okay. Now, let's say what we want to display here. We want to display state. Do a submit. Do a save. Let's test it. New claims records. Okay. For now, again it is displaying me 3 because country is empty. Definitely it will be empty because I never selected. So report definition, it dropped the filter. It gets me all the results. Now if I select India and then I go here, I get only Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Because I did a refresh, now India is passed dynamically here. If you go to Netherlands, I get only one result, view rate. Everything works perfectly fine. Now I'm going to show you one more improvement. What improvement I'm going to show here is I can hide this state. Let's say if it is empty, do I need to show them the state, or ideally we should not allow them to select the state. Let's say I select the state as Tamil Nadu here, and then if I go to country and select Netherlands, it's going to refresh me. It is going to throw me out, right? Because that is not an applicable option. So what could have done better as a best user improvement is you can also disable this option. Let me show you. So whatever best, you can also talk with your business people. Ideally, hiding an element will not be a best user interface also, because suddenly you present them with a screen that is not good. Maybe you can disable the element so that they know that only on selecting this, they will get this. You have to talk with your business. You have to say, or you have to show it to your end users. And when end users are comfortable with that, you can go with that. And also make sure, let's say you are disabling this control. Definitely at different places, if you have similar cascading, you should use the same disabling so that they will have their mind map that, okay, disable means I have to source it from a different source, right? So end users will get the mind map definitely when they start working on their application, which is more consistent. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable it based on an expression. I'm going to say condition for disabling if country equal to empty, or I can also use this expression builder. I'm going to say country is equal to null. If it is null, I'm going to disable it. Okay, now do a submit. Now let's create a new case. Hopefully this will be the final case. Let's create it. And you see here, this is disabled. It's not working, right? The click is not working. Now if I select India, it become enable. It just displays me what are the results. If I go back to select, it become disabled. So this is one of the best practice of presenting the user interface so that you avoid some kind of errors. And don't use this post value, the set value, remove value, whatever you want. Don't use that. Just do a refresh, that will be posted to the clipboard, and you can use that to source the second dropdown. So this is how you are going to use the cascading control. The source is very simple, which I showed you, but in real time you may have data from different data type, or it can be from a same data page. So definitely these options are possible. So you can use it. Just understand cascading is very simple. You have one dropdown which loads the data and use the data into the second dropdown as a source. That is all about cascading. I will see you in the next video.